Yo, what is going on, guys? CWverse here, and welcome back to another video on Superman and Lois. And this will be my preview or what to expect video, mainly centered around the first episode of Superman and Lois, but it does involve the season in general as well, since not many people really know what is going on with this show. So in this video, I'll pretty much be giving you guys like a bunch of theories and speculations that I have to share with you guys about the first episode that we could take from this trailer we got yesterday, but also like other theories I have with it. But before I go over anything, however, you guys don't forget to drop a like on the video and subscribe to the channel so you are aware of more Arrowverse content coming your way. And also make sure to follow me on Twitter if you guys want to be the first people notified on certain new Arrowverse news when they drop. But also you guys could see my thoughts on various topics which I barely cover on the channel, such as Batwoman, Black Lightning, Legends of Tomorrow, and Supergirl. But also things outside of the Arrowverse as well, such as the DCEU, the Marvel Cinematic Universe, Star Wars stuff, and even to normal films in general. For anyone interested in dropping a follow, I will link my Twitter in the description down below. So yesterday was an amazing day. We obviously got that insane looking trailer for Superman and Lois, and it looks so good. I am so excited for this show, and as we saw from the trailer, the production quality with this trailer is insane. And that is mainly because the VFX company that's making the CGI and stuff for Superman and Lois is the same company that makes the CGI and VFX for Netflix shows such as like The Witcher, for example. And also Superman and Lois does have a deal with HBO Max as well, so it does get that increased budget, which is why this show looks more higher quality than like your typical CW shows like The Flash. We also got the news that Superman and Lois will still be airing on the 23rd of February. However, we will now have a 2-hour season premiere where we will have a 90-minute actual pilot episode, obviously including advertisements as well. But also we will have this special documentary hour which is called Legacy of Hope. And over here I'm just guessing that we will have the cast and crew talking about their favorite moments about filming the pilot and maybe what to expect with this show, and maybe some like behind the scenes stuff as well. And obviously we had that insane looking trailer yesterday and it's just gorgeous. Now, each topic that I will be discussing in this video will be broken down into timestamps, so if I talk about an area which you aren't interested in and you want to like skip to a point where you're more interested in, then you could do that in the description down below where you'll find all the timestamps. Now, since this is pretty much a what to expect video after all for the season, yes, although we did get a trailer, I will still go over the synopsis as it is the one that gives us like the more clearer idea to what's going on with the first episode. So it starts off in Superman and Lois. After years of facing megalomaniacal supervillains, monsters wreaking havoc on Metropolis, and alien invaders intent on wiping out the human race, the world's famous superhero, the Man of Steel, aka Clark Kent, who's obviously Superman, and comic books' most famous journalist, Lois Lane, comes face to face with one of their greatest challenges ever, dealing with the stress, pressures, and complexities that come with being working parents in today's society. Complicating the already daunting job of raising 2 boys, Clark and Lois must also concern themselves with whether or not their sons, Jonathan and Jordan Kent, could inherit their father's Kryptonian superpowers as they grow older. Returning to Smallville to handle some Kent family business, Clark and Lois are reacquainted with Lana Lang, a local loan officer who also happens to be Clark's first love, and her fire chief husband, Kyle Cushing. The adults aren't the only ones rediscovering old friendships in Smallville, as Kent's sons are reacquainted with Lana and Kyle's rebellious daughter, Sarah. Of course, there's never a dull moment in the life of a superhero, especially with Lois's father, General Samuel Lane, looking for Superman to vanquish a villain or save the day at a moment's notice. Meanwhile, Superman and Lois's return to Smallville is set to be appended when a mysterious stranger enters their lives. Okay, so very interesting synopsis, and it is mainly based around the first episode, and some of the things that it talks about we already see in the trailer, so we could link it with that. Now, since this is a Superman TV show after all, you'd obviously expect them to be in Metropolis, because that is the city that Superman protects. And as we saw in the trailer, that is not the case. As we saw in the trailer, Clark and Lois got fired from the Daily Planet, so that could be a factor from their move to Metropolis and moving to Smallville. Originally, it was that Clark was meant to be getting fired only, but by the way that looks in the trailer, it seems like Lois got fired as well. Or it could be that once Clark Kent got fired, then Lois just leaves her job like that. I'm not entirely sure. But they're both out of their jobs and they're gonna seek a new job in Smallville by the looks of it. Now, another reason for this move from Metropolis to Smallville is that something very tragic happens. I'm obviously not going to say what it is to avoid spoilers, but if you guys would have read the leaked script like a couple of months ago that came out, it was for episode 1, but you would know what that tragedy is, and as it says in the synopsis, it's some Kent family business, but that's all I'll say. And then Clark and Lois could be like, okay, maybe this could be our next life after Crisis, and then they move to Smallville. That's what I'm thinking. Now, we do have the introduction of 2 boys post-Crisis, and they're both teenagers. So we have Jonathan Kent and obviously Jordan Kent. Now, as you guys heard in the synopsis, the Man of Steel, aka Clark Kent, and comic books' most famous journalist, Lois Lane, come face to face with one of their greatest challenges ever, dealing with all the stress, pressures, and complexities that come with being working parents in today's society. Complicating the already daunting job of raising 2 boys, Clark and Lois must also concern themselves whether or not their sons could inherit their father's Kryptonian powers as they grow older. Now, this could also be a reason to why they moved to Smallville. So due to the concern of Jonathan and Jordan Kent getting these Kryptonian powers, it would be a lot easier for Clark to obviously train his kids far away from Metropolis. And obviously at this point, the kids have no idea that their father is Superman. They don't know about that, but obviously they will find out eventually. The management of time will also be another issue with the kids. And in the trailer we did see that happening because Clark was wondering whether he's a bad father or not. He literally asks Lois, am I a bad father? And that's because Clark and Lois obviously must have time to prioritize their kids and spend time as a family. However, these 2 parents have incredibly tough jobs. We obviously have Clark with his built up stress because he's a superhero, he's Superman. And because of him having to prioritize being Superman more than spending time with his kids, that's not going to leave the kids too happy, is it? And then when the kids ask like, oh, where have you been? Obviously Clark is going to have to find a way to cover it up. And because he had to lie to them, that's going to repel them even more. Now, from the trailer, we do know that the kids do not know that Clark is Superman until later. So maybe we will start off with these kids having like family issues and why Clark isn't always there with the kids. And then when Clark reveals himself to be Superman, maybe they'll be on board and they'll be more understanding after. As we saw in the trailer, there are a lot of family issues going on, so I'm very interested to see how all of this will be solved. Now, Jonathan Kent is obviously the son that's taken straight from the comics. Now, he's pretty much the more like athletic one. Like, if you want to know who Jonathan Kent is, he is pretty much Clark Kent as a kid. That is pretty much Jonathan Kent. So based off his like physique and stuff, he will probably be the one that inherits his father's Kryptonian powers. I doubt both of them will. So maybe throughout the season we do see like an accident occur and then Jonathan is left wondering why he isn't hurt by it. And he starts realizing that he's also inherited his father's Kryptonian powers. Maybe that could be something that's going on, but I'm not sure. Now, Jordan Kent, on the other hand, is the total opposite of his brother. While Jonathan Kent is like a very athletic person, he's very social. Jonathan Kent is he's less athletic, he's more on gaming and stuff. And he's one of the 2 brothers that is very antisocial. And it seems like he is like the darker brother between the 2. Now, I'm not entirely sure whether this was confirmed or not, but it seems like Jordan will be suffering from mental health issues as well. So that's also a great thing that they added onto the show. Now, since this is a pilot episode of the show, we are expecting new characters to be introduced. Now, for this show, we are expecting to encounter Clark's first love, that obviously being Lana Lang. Now, Lana is also married, and she is married to a man called Kyle Cushing. And they have a daughter called Sarah Cushing. And by the looks of it, the 2 kids, Jonathan and Jordan Kent, are going to be really great friends with Sarah Cushing. And I'm not entirely sure, but maybe we could have like a love triangle between like Jonathan and then Sarah, and then maybe Jordan has a crush on Sarah as well, maybe something like that. We do have 2 Supergirl characters joining the show, and they have both been recasted, so if you cannot recognize them, that is why. So one of them I'll get onto later on because they are a main villain, but the other one has been recasted, and it is General Samuel Lane. Now, General Samuel Lane is obviously the father of Lois Lane, and as we saw in Supergirl, he's this like very military person, and he always heavily relies on like Superman or Supergirl to get the job done. And as you would have seen on Supergirl, he's a very unlikable person. He isn't a very good guy, and his relationship with the two Kryptonians, Kara and Clark, isn't good. And as we saw from yesterday's trailer as well, he doesn't have a good relationship with Clark Kent either. Now, although we saw how General Samuel Lane acts in front of Kara, it will be very interesting to see how Clark deals with General Samuel Lane. Now, going on to one of our two main characters for this show, Superman or Clark Kent. What should we expect to see for Clark Kent, aka Superman's story, in the first episode and in the show overall? So we do know that both Clark Kent and Lois have been fired from their jobs as a journalist, and also a tragedy occurs, which leads to Clark realizing that maybe the move to Smallville would be heavily beneficial for the family. But for Clark, I am expecting to see him struggle with his normal day-to-day life whilst being a father as well as being Superman, because obviously he's a superhero and not so pleasant things occur in any time possible. Like, he could literally be in like the family dinner for all you know, and then like a crime happens and he's gonna have to go there. So we should definitely see these family issues going around, where pretty much Clark prioritizing his kids and his family will always come second, due to him being Superman being more important. But obviously with that, there are going to be some like good family stuff going on as well, like with Clark spending time with his family. We are going to be seeing those good stuff after all, because after all, it is a very family centered show. So it's not going to be that dark. We're not going to continuously have like family issues and stuff like that. But we should definitely be expecting some great stuff with Clark and the family. Now, moving on to comic books' most famous journalist, Lois Lane. What do we expect to see with her? Now, with Lois in the trailer, it seems like she has also been fired from the Daily Planet. It could as well be that Clark got fired and Lois just left. I'm not entirely sure. Originally, it was said, as I said before, that Clark was the only one being fired and Lois would be in the Daily Planet. But by the looks of it, Lois Lane has left her job as well. Now, with her, we should obviously be expecting her to catch stories and work on her journalist profession at Smallville. This time, not in Metropolis. And just like Clark, because of how determined Lois is at her work, once again we should be expecting these struggles where Lois obviously has to be a mother, but work on the journalism side as well. Now, for those who didn't know, we have two main villains for this season, and this season is 13 episodes, so it will be very interesting to see how they handle it. Now, one villain is for Superman and then the other one is for Lois, because after all, they are the two main characters, Superman and Lois, so it does make sense that both of them get their own main villains. So for Superman, we do know that the main villain is referred to as the Stranger, and he is pretty much an antagonist that wants to prove that the world does not need Superman to protect it. Now, originally, this character was referred to as Captain Luthor. So from this, you could assume that this character is like a long-lost multiverse version of Lex Luthor. Now, the reason this could be is because obviously John Cryer's Lex Luthor has to still film Supergirl season 6. So maybe because of that, they had to find their own version of Lex Luthor and then they came up with Captain Luthor. Maybe that is what's happening, I'm not entirely sure. As we see in the trailer, he is actually there in the first episode facing off Superman, which will be pretty damn sick to see, and I cannot wait to see what they have planned with this character, because he seems like a very sick antagonist. And for Lois Lane, her villain is Morgan Edge. Now yes, once again, this is a recasted version of the character, and you would have seen Morgan Edge if you watched Supergirl season 3 or 4, is one of them. And obviously Morgan Edge is a very corrupt businessman, so Lois tracking a story about him will also be very interesting to see, and how she could expose what he's doing. But Morgan Edge is the main villain for Lois Lane and her journalist side of things. But yeah guys, thanks for watching. If you guys have enjoyed the video, please give a like and subscribe. Tell me in the comment section down below what you guys think about all of this. Are you guys excited for Superman and Lois or not? But yeah, I will see you guys in my next video.